Our next speaker is an incredibly well-renowned professor at Anderson. Was actually featured on Entourage. I don't think he's actually had an introduction that hasn't included that in the last year. Our next speaker has been a pioneer in the microfinance world. He's been an absolute advocate for ensuring financial access at birth for all children growing up in this world. Our next speaker is Bhagwan Chowdhry.
$2.7 billion people in the world have no access to basic financial services that you and I take for granted. Women in India and Africa, they are willing to pay. They are willing to pay to keep their savings safe. 50% of the births around the world go unregistered. We don't even know these babies exist. When social services agencies want to access them, they don't know where they are. In times of emergencies, when we need to access the poor, the most vulnerable, our methods are inadequate and inefficient. Earthquake in Haiti. We're trying to make sure that everybody will get food and medicine. Will they? Some of them will. Some of them won't. That's not adequate. Financial access at birth, FAB for short, is trying to take that challenge. And I think we can do it one baby at a time. We need three things. FAB connects three ideas. Three ideas that have already worked. Number one, $100 saving deposit for every child born in the world. Number two, a unique universal ID for every citizen. And number three, mobile and electronic branchless banking. Here's how it's going to work. Take a mother, soon-to-be mother. FAB is going to offer a $100 deposit to the mother as an incentive to get her child registered, give the child an electronic identity. And while we are at it, we'll give her an identity as well and a basic transaction account that she can use. So immediately, not only are we onboarding the child, but also the family and the mother. And this is going to be helpful to her later because she's going to start build a financial history. So when she needs to use credit later, when she needs to get insurance later, she will have access to it. The ID is going to be biometrics. In India, they're trying to create universal ID for every citizen. Fingerprints and iris scan, together it costs $1 to get that ID going. Make that ID also their bank account. And let them use this bank account using mobile technology. We have the access to mobile technology. We can make it work. In fact, it's working right now in Kenya, for example. Take a look at this. Go to the store and they get the money right away. But I'm a professor. People ask me, what is the business case? Is this going to work or not? And I think there are three ideas that's going to make it work. The first one is incentives. A $100 incentive will get the mother in to get her child registered, but it's also an incentive for the banks. Banks who traditionally didn't want to deal with the poor, but now for a $100 deposit for every child, give them 1 million accounts, now they're willing to talk. But we also need to reduce costs. And for that, technology is going to help. With technology, costs go down. And in addition to technology, what's going to work is scale. When you have thousands and millions of accounts, the variable costs go down. So the old banking model is this. You walk into a bank branch and you see a teller and the teller smiles at you. You lost $10 right there. The new model is the poor woman who just earned 100 rupees, $2, can go to a grocery store, buy stuff worth 60 rupees, and deposit 40 rupees right there and then. Branchless banking. Low variable costs, but high fixed costs. What do we need to make it work? It's a big investment. It's a $10 billion investment. 134 million babies are born every year. Let's say 75% of those are fab babies. That's 100 million babies. Times $100. That's $10 billion. Is that a lot of money? We spend hundreds of billions of dollars bailing out banks. This is $10 billion worldwide. It's 1/50th of 1% of GDP, the world GDP. In other words, you're setting aside $20 for every $100,000. I don't think we are talking about a big amount. I think we need to think about it differently. I think we need to reposition aid, and I think we can do it. But it's not going to be easy. I was talking to Sophia and Vince at HBO's Entourage.
Miss Leah. Hi.
Vincent Chase. Vincent, this is Professor Bhagwan Chowdhry from the UCLA Anderson School.
How do you do?
Hi.
Professor Chowdhry is an expert in finance, and I'm writing a piece on his Financial Access at Birth initiative.
Wow, I love that.
You've heard of that?
No, but I'm excited to read about it now.
Probably won't get the cover like you. Convincing world leaders and private funders to open a $100 savings account for every child in the world isn't as sexy as a Hollywood star.
But far more interesting.
Well, thank you.
Well, anyway, I'll let you go to it. It's a pleasure to meet you.
And you.
Sophia?
Bye, Vincent.
Remember, 3 billion people live in poverty. And you and I and everybody else need to put our minds together and help them take a few steps out of poverty. Thank you very much.
You want a few questions? Right there. All right. Thank you, Dr. Chowdhry, one more time. I'm so happy you actually played that clip because I was actually about to reenact that whole thing and try to do it with you. That wouldn't have worked out too well.
Yeah, Sophia is a little prettier.
Yes, she is. Yes, she is. One question that I know that I kind of was thinking about when hearing about the idea of financial access at birth is the reception of world leaders to this idea. You've done extensive travel all over the world talking about this at conferences, speaking with folks in economic circles. What's the reception of most politicians and economists about this idea around the world?
I am happy to say a lot of people have responded positively to this idea. When I first started, I thought this was a crazy idea. But you know what? When people say it's a crazy idea, that gets me excited. So I said, okay, let me push on it a little further. I've talked to people in India. We have talked to people in Pacific. We are talking to other governments. The reception is quite positive. But all the pieces need to be there. So we are looking for a pilot, a small pilot in a small country, to show that all the pieces that I'm talking about, the 3 pieces, can fit together. And if I can do one pilot or 2, then that will be a demonstration effect, and then we can go to the Mexicos and the African countries. So I think we are making progress.
Outstanding. Thank you so much, Dr. Chowdhry.
Thank you.